If you are spending your Saturday mornings on your hands and knees pulling weeds, you are gardening against nature. The modern world forgot this on purpose. They want you buying plastic bottles of chemical herbicides from the big box stores. They want you trapped in a cycle of endless, back-breaking labor. And they certainly do not want you to know how your great-grandparents managed to feed a family of 8 while working a fraction of the hours. Hundreds of years ago, English cottagers figured out a brilliant system, a living, breathing fortress that produced food, supported pollinators, and choked out invasive weeds automatically. They used deep-rooted, tightly packed perennials to create a zero-work polyculture, a resilient shield around their homestead. Today, I am going to reveal 12 ancestral plants that create a self-sustaining cottage garden, completely erasing the need for lost weekends. I will even show you the towering vertical giant, number 3 on our list, that hides ugly modern fences while protecting your soil, and the iron-tough prairie root at number 7 that breaks up the hardest clay. And make sure you stay for the final controversial weed that replaces store-bought fertilizer forever. This is your family's fortress. Let us begin. Modern gardening centers sell us fragile, thirsty annuals, plants that wilt if you look at them wrong, requiring endless watering, toxic fertilizers, and expensive soil amendments. The corporate nurseries actually design them to die. You spend hundreds of hard-earned dollars each spring just to watch them scorch in the July sun while the crabgrass takes over. But step back to 16th century rural England, a time before rubber hoses and automatic irrigation timers. English cottagers planted lavender at the very edges of their stone paths. During the great summer droughts that starved out the weak crops, these tough silver-leaved guardians stood tall. They were the front-line defense of the homestead. The poorest families relied on them, not just for their calming traditional scent, but because their dense structure created an impenetrable wall against the aggressive thistles and nettles trying to invade the vegetable patches. This is ancient logic at work. Lavender thrives on absolute neglect. It develops a woody, labyrinth-like root system that aggressively seeks out deep minerals, drawing them up into the leaves. Above ground, its tightly woven foliage acts as a living parasol. It casts a dense, permanent shadow over the soil, starving any weed seed of the sunlight it needs to germinate. Furthermore, the oils in its leaves naturally repel the pest insects that carry disease to your crops. Let us look at the brutal math. A single gallon of commercial weed killer costs around $30 and poisons your soil's delicate microbiome. Over 10 years, you are burning $300 and countless hours spraying poison. A $5 lavender plug, planted once, spreads into a perennial fortress. It saves you thousands in chemicals and hundreds of hours on your knees, offering decades of drought-proof beauty and absolute uncompromising resilience. Have you ever looked at the dark, shaded corners of your yard and felt completely defeated? Modern landscaping tells us shade is a dead zone. The big box stores push truckloads of dyed, chemical-soaked wood mulch to cover the bare dirt. A fragile modern system, designed to rot away rapidly and be repurchased every single year, bleeding your wallet dry. The old-world cottagers did not have the luxury of wasted space or money for bags of useless wood chips. In the damp, shadowed borders of 17th-century estates and modest crofts, they turned to the foxglove. They planted these towering spires under the dense canopies of ancient oaks. The foxglove did not cower in the dark. It conquered it. Generations of rural families knew its leaves were strictly off-limits to eat, holding a powerful, dangerous chemistry that commands deep respect, but they revered it as the ultimate sentinel of the shade. It held the soil together where the sun refused to shine. The ancient logic of foxglove is built on sheer dominance. In its first year, it forms a massive, ground-hugging rosette, a thick, textured blanket of leaves that smothers the earth, physically blocking the wind from dropping weed seeds onto the soil. In the second year, it sends up its glorious bell-covered spire, attracting the deep woods bumblebees that are vital for your surrounding food crops. It thrives in the damp, converting decaying leaf litter into robust vertical growth. Calculate the true cost of that shaded corner. $50 a year on bagged mulch just to hide the weeds. Over a decade, that is $500 poured straight into the dirt. A handful of foxglove seeds costs $3. They self-sow, dropping thousands of seeds naturally. You buy them once, and for the rest of your life, that dead zone becomes an ever-replenishing, weed-suppressing cathedral of historic beauty. Every modern suburban lot has them. The ugly, rotting wooden fences, the chain-link boundaries, the neighbors looking straight into your yard. The modern solution is to buy expensive, fragile vinyl privacy screens, or hire contractors to build towering walls that block the natural breeze. We throw thousands of dollars at synthetic barriers that will inevitably crack, fade, and end up in a landfill. The pioneers and the early English settlers knew a much better way. They brought hollyhock seeds across the churning Atlantic, carefully sewn into the hems of their garments. They planted them along the drafty, mud-chinked walls of their cabins and cottages. These towering giants grew to be 8, sometimes 10 feet tall. They were not just flowers, they were living architecture. The women of the household relied on them to break the bitter winds, to provide a wall of privacy from the dusty roads, and to aggressively hold the perimeter line against encroaching wild brambles. The biological mechanics of the hollyhock are a marvel of nature's engineering. To support a stalk that thick and tall, it drives a massive taproot deep into the earth, anchoring itself like a fortress pillar. This root shatters hard-pan soil, bringing trapped water and vital nutrients to the surface. As it grows, its enormous, textured leaves create a massive canopy at the base, casting an aggressive shadow that completely chokes out opportunistic weeds trying to steal nutrients. Think about the brutal financial reality. A new privacy fence costs roughly $4,000 and requires constant painting, staining, or replacing every 15 years. A packet of heirloom hollyhock seeds costs perhaps $4. Within a single season, you erect a self-seeding, towering wall of resilience. You gain absolute privacy, zero maintenance, and a vertical sanctuary for the pollinators that keep your family's vegetable garden thriving year after year. The modern agricultural complex has convinced us we must spray neurotoxins on the food we feed our children. We are sold plastic jugs of chemical pesticides to fight off aphids, trapped on a toxic, endless treadmill, but walk through the ruins of a 12th century medieval monastery. They relied on divine architecture. They planted thick, impenetrable borders of chives around their most precious sustenance. The monks knew these pungent fortresses were not just for flavoring the daily broth. They were the silent protectors of the sanctuary. When swarms of devastating insects descended upon the valley, the crops surrounded by the sharp green perimeter were entirely passed over. This is the ancient logic of sulfur compounds. Chives release a steady, invisible vapor of concentrated allium oils into the surrounding air. This acts as a botanical cloaking device, deeply confusing the olfactory sensors of hungry pests and masking the scent of the vulnerable vegetables behind them. Their dense, clumping root systems also lock out creeping weeds. Look at the brutal math. The average suburban gardener spends $40 a season on toxic, insecticidal soaps. Over 5 years, that is $200 to poison your own soil. A simple packet of heirloom chive seeds costs $2. They return every single spring, multiplying in size, giving you decades of chemical-free pest confusion. There is nothing more demoralizing than spending a brutal weekend pulling creeping bindweed from bare soil, only to watch it return 3 days later. The corporate garden centers sell us rolls of suffocating plastic landscape fabric, a fragile modern system that degrades into microplastics and chokes your topsoil. The legendary Roman legions solved this problem 2,000 years ago as they marched across the untamed wilds of Europe. They carried mint with them on their grueling campaigns. When they established a long-term encampment, they did not waste precious calories pulling weeds from the dirt. They planted mint, but they did it with a brilliant historical catch. They buried broken clay amphorae in the earth, placing the mint inside the pots. This ingenious method contained the aggressive roots while allowing the fragrant foliage to spill over the top, creating an instant weed-proof ground cover. This is allelopathy, combined with physical dominance. Mint sends out aggressive shallow runners that knit together into a dense, living mat. It outcompetes every single weed seed for water and space, while its leaves release volatile oils that actively inhibit the germination of rival plants. The financial truth is stark. Buying rolls of synthetic weed fabric will cost you upwards of $200 for a modest plot, and it fails completely within 3 years. A $4 mint cutting, smartly contained in a sunken bucket, gives you an immortal, fragrant carpet that suppresses every weed in its path. Millions of Americans are brainwashed into believing we must rip the earth apart to fight deep-rooted weeds. We rent heavy gasoline tillers that destroy the delicate fungal networks beneath the surface, ensuring our gardens remain weak, thirsty, and entirely dependent on synthetic fertilizers. In the sprawling, smoky kitchen gardens of Victorian England, the cottagers operated with profound wisdom. They needed early spring calories, without the back-breaking labor of constant tilling. They planted rhubarb. These ancient crowns were handed down from generation to generation, treated as precious family heirlooms. Placed strategically at the edges of the growing plots, they were the undisputed kings of the garden. As the harsh English winters broke, the rhubarb was the very first to rise, unfurling massive primordial leaves that dominated the landscape. This is the raw physics of solar exclusion. A single mature rhubarb plant produces a sprawling, umbrella-like canopy that spans 3 feet across. This dense foliage intercepts 100% of the photon energy from the sun. The soil beneath remains plunged in absolute darkness. No weed seed, no matter how aggressive, can photosynthesize or survive in that pitch-black shadow. The math is undeniable. Purchasing forced rhubarb at a premium grocery store will cost you $7 a pound. Renting a tiller to destroy your soil costs $60 a day. Planting a single $5 rhubarb crown yields 20 pounds of food annually and provides a massive, impenetrable shadow shield that guards your soil for 25 years with zero effort. We have reached the boss item, the most suppressed plant in the modern agricultural world. The corporate fertilizer monopolies have built a billion-dollar empire selling us petroleum-based powders. They want your soil depleted, so you are forced to buy their plastic bags year after year. Long before chemical factories existed, traditional Russian peasant plots and historical apothecary gardens relied on a secret weapon. Today we know it as Bocking 14 comfrey. The old-timers did not buy fertilizer. They grew it. They planted this towering, broad-leafed perennial near their orchards and compost piles. They slashed it to the ground with scythes 3 times a summer, using the heavy green leaves to mulch their entire garden. When local soils were stripped of nutrients, this legendary plant kept the homestead thriving. The ancient logic of comfrey is a miracle of biological mining. It does not rely on depleted topsoil. Instead, it drives a massive, fleshy taproot up to 10 feet deep into the earth, penetrating into the untouched, mineral-rich subsoil. It acts as a dynamic accumulator, pulling up massive quantities of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. When you chop those leaves and drop them on your soil, you are delivering a potent, perfectly balanced fertilizer directly to your crops. Calculate the cost of corporate dependence. Buying organic fertilizer costs the average homesteader $200 a year. A sterile Bocking 14 root cutting costs $10. It cannot spread by seed, so it stays exactly where you put it, providing you with hundreds of pounds of free, infinite, deeply mined fertilizer for life. We have been led completely astray. The fragility of modern systems is no longer a conspiracy. It is a daily reality. They want you walking down the fluorescent aisles of the grocery store, paying a premium for poisoned food, while your own backyard sits barren, covered in chemically treated grass. But a weed is simply nature's way of trying to repair naked, bleeding dirt. When you break your back pulling weeds, you are fighting the very design of creation. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you do not plant something resilient, she will plant something ruthless. This is about more than just gardening. This is a philosophical reset, a reclamation of your independence. Our Christian heritage teaches us to be wise stewards of the land, not chemical conquerors who poison the well. When you establish a polyculture of deeply rooted ancestral perennials, you are stepping out of their fragile matrix. You are returning to the self-reliance that built this country. You are forging a living armor around your homestead, a sanctuary where your family can thrive, immune to the rising costs and the collapsing systems of the modern era. This is your ancestral grid. You start with the perimeter, locking out the invasive elements with hollyhock and chives. You cover the bare, vulnerable earth with mint and creeping thyme. You embrace the dark corners with Foxglove, and you power the entire engine with the deep mining miracle of comfrey. You stack their functions, layering the tall with the short, the deep roots with the shallow. The days of spending your weekends as a slave to the hoe and the chemical sprayer are over. Take back your time. Take back your soil. If you are ready to stop participating in their broken systems and want to build a truly resilient family homestead, hit the subscribe button right now. We are resurrecting the lost skills of our ancestors, and we are doing it together. Build the fortress, and I will see you in the next one.